I love the start of gardening season and get practically giddy over planting those first seeds. However, we need to take some precautions. We often talk about pests out in the garden. This video is going to focus on pests and diseases that your young seedlings can get while growing in pots, whether you start them in the kitchen or a greenhouse. Hi, I'm Amy, a master gardener, science teacher, and wildlife rehabber. Check out my post tab on the channel page. I'm currently running a poll on what interests you so I can foster a more active community. So let's get into seedling pests. Fungus gnats are small, mosquito-like insects flying around the soil. There are many different kinds. These small flies are a common problem in potting soil. The adults lay eggs in the soil and are often undetected when your seed starting mix or potting soil is being produced. Then when you open the bag and start using the soil, they emerge. The larvae of most species feed on fungi growing in the soil, helping in the decomposition of organic matter. However, they also feed on young roots, weakening plants and making them susceptible to disease. They can carry diseases such as pythium, which causes damping off, so it's important to get rid of them. The most common way is to use yellow sticky traps. You can buy ones like these. I'll put a link in the description that you can stick them in a pot or hang them over the seedlings. You can also make your own. Avoid overwatering. Fungus gnats thrive in damp soil. Allow the soil surface to dry in between waterings. Spider mites are extremely small, less than 1 millimeter, often appearing as tiny reddish brown or pale dots. They typically cluster on the underside of leaves. In severe infestations, fine webbing is visible, covering leaves and stems. Spider mites feed by piercing plant cells and sucking out their contents, which leads to yellow speckling or striping on the leaves' surface. The leaves turn brown, curl up, and eventually die off. To prevent spider mites, inspect seedlings closely, especially under their leaves. Maintain adequate humidity around the seedlings as spider mites prefer dry conditions. Ensure good airflow around the plants. Stagnant, dry air can encourage outbreaks. Spraying them with water can dislodge spider mites and disrupt their populations, especially early on. Organic treatments like neem oil or insecticide soap can effectively control them. Ensure that you have thorough coverage on the undersides of the leaf, because we know that's where they are hiding. Aphids, ugh. These small sap-sucking insects can stunt plant growth, deform the leaves, and transmit diseases. Aphids are one of the most common pests that gardeners encounter, especially on young, vulnerable seedlings. While small in size, aphids rapidly multiply and can cause considerable damage. Aphids are small, soft-bodied insects, typically less than 1/8 of an inch or 2 to 3 millimeters. They come in many colors depending on the species, and usually are found in groups. They also like to hang out on the underneath of the leaves and like tender new growth. Aphids harm seedlings by sucking plant sap, weakening them and causing the leaves to curl. They produce a sticky substance known as honeydew, which encourages mold growth, particularly sooty mold, which can transmit a number of plant viruses. Regularly inspect your seedlings, particularly the underside. Keep the seedlings healthy and vigorous through proper watering and nutrition, as aphids target stressed or weaker plants. Maintain good airflow around your seedlings and avoid excess nitrogen. That can encourage tender growth, which is attractive to aphids. I have a deep dive video into aphids and how to prevent them. You can wash aphids off seedlings gently but thoroughly with a spray of water. However, they do move, so they can crawl back on the plants if they haven't died. Neem oil or insecticide soap, again, is what I recommend and can control aphid populations if applied consistently. Be sure to cover both sides of the leaves and the stems. Encourage or introduce natural predators such as ladybugs and lacewings. I know that can be hard in your house, but if you have a greenhouse or an outdoor planting shed, then letting those critters go would be a good benefit. White flies are soft bodied winged insects closely related to aphids. They tend to prefer to feed on new growth, so check around any newly unfurled leaves first. They like warm weather vegetables, including tomatoes, eggplant, peppers, and okra. Use soap sprays and yellow traps to control them. Damping off is a disease that affects seedlings, causing them to rot or collapse. It's caused by fungal or soil pathogens who like cool, wet conditions. Here you can see the fungus growing around the seedling. Seedlings may suddenly collapse at the soil line. The stem base appears shriveled, darkened, and weak. To prevent, sterilize seed starting trays and use sterile seed starting soil. Clean all used pots and trays in a solution of 10% household bleach by soaking for 30 minutes. Use new potting mix to fill the trays. Don't reuse potting mix or garden soil or compost for seedlings. Make sure to ventilate, especially if you are using tray covers. Avoid overcrowding. Water to keep moist, but not soggy. Use trays with drainage holes to ensure the draining of excess water. And using a heating pad under the trays to warm the soil to 70 to 75 degrees for indoor plants can help the seedlings grow. Hopefully, you're getting the message that overwatering can cause problems. Like damping off, root rot is a group of fungal diseases that cause the stems and roots to appear brown, slimy, mushy, making the seedlings wilt. You want the roots of your seedlings to look like this. Ensure proper drainage in the containers and use well draining soils or mixes. Allow soil to dry slightly and water less frequently to reduce moisture. Here are 7 general helpful tips for growing seedlings. Buy good quality seeds that are tested for disease and germination rates. Here are my favorite catalogs. If you are an Amazon shopper, they have many great brands as well, such as Back to the Roots, Burpee, and Sweet Yards. Reusing containers is a great way to save money, but make sure you clean them. Knock out any leftover dirt into the compost and wash the containers in dish soap. Rinse in a bleach solution 10% and then allow to dry in the sun. Plant at the right depth. Generally, seeds should be planted at a depth twice their size, but there are many exceptions. Some seeds need light to germinate. Follow the packet instructions. Do not apply fertilizer to seedlings until several true leaves have developed. Then apply half-strength organic fertilizer. I personally like to use fish emulsion. Many potting mixes contain slow-release fertilizer, but I stick with a very basic sterile seedling mix. Use clean, warm water to water young seedlings. Cool water under 50 degrees Fahrenheit slows the plant growth and increases opportunities for infection. Water from the bottom up if you can. So, water from the bottom up by placing seedling trays with holes into larger trays, adding water to that bottom tray and letting the soil soak up the water gradually. Provide adequate light. Seedlings need 12 to 16 hours of bright light daily. Use grow lights if natural light light is insignificant. This was a setup I had in one of my classrooms. Seedlings are hardier than you think. These brassica seedlings were in the greenhouse when it snowed. I hope this information is helpful as you start your garden adventure. Check out my playlist on organic pest and disease controls to help you prevent and control any problems. Thanks for watching, and please check out the post section on my channel page. I'm wishing you a wonderful sunny day.